Chapter 1. Montego High School. Montego Bay is a beautiful tourist town on the east coast of Florida, near Miami Beach. The town was founded in the 17th century by the pirates of the Caribbean Sea, who were called buccaneers. Montego Bay became their home port, and there are still legends about hidden treasure there. The new Montego Bay Wax Museum opened recently. It is a big tourist attraction with wax statues of famous explorers, buccaneers, sea captains, slave merchants, and criminals. Our story starts one Friday morning in October at the Martins' home. Bill and Michelle Martin lived with their parents in a nice old house. Bill was a tall boy of 16 with brown hair and blue eyes. This was his third year at Montego High School. Science was his favorite subject, and he wanted to become a biologist. Basketball was his sport, and he was one of the best players on the school team. His sister Michelle was a pretty girl of 15 with short red hair and blue eyes. She loved all kinds of modern music and had a big collection of CDs. This was her second year at Montego High, and she was a member of the Journalism Club, which published the monthly school paper.
"Hurry up, Michelle, it's late!"
shouted Bill from the living room.
"I'm coming!"
shouted Michelle from the top of the stairs. She ran down and took her backpack.
"Bye, Mom. See you this afternoon."
"Bye, Mom,"
said Bill.
"There's basketball practice today. See you at dinner."
"Enjoy your visit to the new museum,"
said their mother. Their father worked at the airport, and he was already at work. Bill and Michelle met their good friend Nick Chan in front of the park. He was a tall Chinese American of 16. He was a member of the basketball team too.
"Hi, guys,"
said Nick, smiling.
"Let's hope this visit to the new wax museum won't be boring."
"I know,"
said Bill.
"and we have to write a report about it for Mrs. Jenkins."
The students of the second and third year were visiting the new museum that morning. It was part of their local history course with the new history teacher, Mrs. Jenkins. The old teacher, Mr. ONELL, disappeared mysteriously before the summer. He was one of the favorite teachers at Montego High because he was friendly and his classes were interesting. One day in June, Mr. ONELL went out on his boat, the North Star. He sailed east to the Bahamas and into the Bermuda Triangle. No one knew why he was going there. The Coast Guard found his boat a few days later, but he was missing. Only his dog was on the boat. They took the North Star back to the Montego Bay port and left it there. The Miami police said Peter ONELL was missing because his body was never found. They opened a police file and gave it a number. File number 113. The ONELL case. Where was Peter ONELL? No one knew. It was a mystery. The local newspaper, the Miami Times, wrote a lot of articles about the ONELL case. The last one said, "Peter ONELL, another victim of the Triangle?" July 10. A month after the disappearance of Peter ONELL, the police are still trying to solve the case. The 45-year-old history teacher and expert scuba diver disappeared during a boat ride in the waters of the Bermuda Triangle. Police Sergeant Robert Walters says, "People, boats, and airplanes often disappear in the Triangle, and no one knows why. Could Peter ONELL be another victim of the Triangle? However, the case is still open. We hope to have an answer one day." Bill, Michelle, and Nick met their friends and teachers outside the museum. There were a lot of rooms and exhibits with wax statues. There were also models of old Spanish sailing ships and maps of the Caribbean islands on the walls.
"These statues scare me,"
said Michelle.
"They look like real people."
"You're right,"
said Juanita, one of Michelle's friends.
Those glass eyes give me the creeps.
Look at that one,
said Nick, laughing.
He looks like Mr. Branson, our math teacher. Look at the small beard and the green eyes.
Ugh, Mr. Branson and his math tests,
said Bill.
Hey, look at this slave merchant with the red bandana and the black patch over his eye,
said Michelle.
He's got a strange tattoo on his arm. I didn't know there were tattoos in those days.
When they left the museum, they saw a beagle outside the entrance. He wanted to get into the museum.
I guess he can't read the sign,
said Bill, pointing to the "Dogs Not Allowed" sign. His friends laughed as they walked to school. After a long hour of history, it was time for lunch. The school cafeteria was always a noisy, fun place for the students. It was the best time of the day to meet with friends and chat. Michelle always had lunch with her best friends, Juanita and Susan. They usually talked about clothes and boys.
Michelle, look, there's Matt,
whispered Susan.
And he's wearing a cool blue sweater,
whispered Juanita. Matt Anderson was the handsome captain of the football team. He was 17, and Michelle liked him. She looked at him, but he didn't see her, so she started eating her lunch.
Let's talk about something else, Curls,
she said, eating her sandwich. Chapter 2. At the Port. Saturday was a busy day for Bill and Michelle. They both had part-time jobs to earn some pocket money. Bill worked at the local supermarket, and Michelle took the neighbors' dogs for walks. Saturday night was special because Mrs. Martin always cooked something unusual. After dinner, Michelle went to Juanita's house, and Bill phoned Nick.
What are you doing tonight?
Asked Bill.
As soon as I finish working, I'm going to the movies,
said Nick.
Good idea. What's on?
Said Bill.
There's a science fiction movie at the Madison Theater that everybody's talking about. Fifth Dimension. We can meet at my parents' restaurant at 8:30.
Okay, see you then, Nick.
Nick's parents had a Chinese restaurant near the port, and he always worked there on weekends. As Bill waited for Nick at the back door of the restaurant, he saw the same beagle from the wax museum. The poor dog was sad and thin. He was probably waiting for some food. Nick came out from the back door and said,
What an evening. There was a birthday dinner and we were so busy.
What's that dog doing here?
Asked Bill.
Oh, him,
said Nick.
He's a stray and wants something to eat. My mother always gives him some food. I think he lost his master.
On Sunday morning, the port was very busy. People were going out in their boats, and the fishermen were repairing their fishing nets. The Martins had a small cabin cruiser at the port. They decided to clean it because Bill and Michelle wanted to have a Halloween party there. Mom and I are going down to the port to clean the boat, said Mr. Martin. You can come later. We could use 4 extra hands.
Okay, Dad, we'll be there soon,
said Bill.
I'm going to wear my new jeans and pink t-shirt,
said Michelle, who loved wearing new clothes.
You don't need new clothes to clean a boat, silly,
said Bill.
Boys will never understand,
said Michelle with a smile. It was almost 10 o'clock when Bill and Michelle got to the port. There were always a lot of fishing boats, cabin cruisers, and yachts at the port. It was a warm, sunny day, and everything looked beautiful. An old fisherman, Francisco Garcia, was sitting on a pier near his boat, repairing a fishing net.
Hi, Francisco,
said Michelle.
Hello,
said the old man with lively dark eyes.
Nice to see you.
Are you going out fishing today?
Asked Bill.
No, I'm going early tomorrow morning,
he said, looking at his fishing boat.
There he is again. Poor thing.
Who?
Asked Bill and Michelle.
Peter ONELL's dog, Rover. He sits in front of his master's boat every day and whimpers. Can't you see him?
Bill and Michelle turned around. It was the same dog Bill saw at the museum and at the restaurant.
Do you mean the beagle? Over there, near the boat?
Asked Michelle, pointing to the North Star.
Yeah,
Said Francisco.
he's sad because he lost his master. It breaks my heart. I wanted to take him home with me, but he only wants his master.
The poor dog.
Said Bill.
Did the police ever find Mr. ONELL's body?
The Bermuda Triangle took him.
Said Francisco.
The police will never find his body in the triangle. He was unlucky, very unlucky. But I told him.
What did you tell him?
Asked Bill.
Well, when Mr. ONELL bought the boat, he changed its name to North Star. I told him it was bad luck to change the name of a boat. Sailors and fishermen know that, but he didn't believe me. He thought it was an old superstition.
I didn't know that.
Said Michelle.
But why did he go out to sea that day in June?
He brought his scuba diving equipment on board. I think he was looking for something in the sea, something important. He went out in his boat every weekend.
Did anyone go with him?
Asked Bill.
Only his dog.
He said, and his busy hands started repairing the net again.
It was nice talking to you, Francisco. Goodbye.
Said Bill, walking away with Michelle.
The ONELL case is a big mystery. No one knows what happened to him, and no one knows what he was looking for. We just know that he was a terrific teacher and everyone liked him.
Well, Francisco thought he was looking for something important.
Replied Michelle.
Yeah, but I wonder what.
Said Bill. Chapter 3. A Halloween Party. Saturday, October 31, was Halloween, and the town of Montego Bay was ready to celebrate it. There were jack-o'-lanterns and black and orange decorations everywhere. There were some incredible costumes in town, and people were busy planning scary Halloween parties. Bill and Michelle planned their costumes and masks weeks before Halloween. Bill was a vampire, and Michelle was a rock star. She was excited because she could wear more makeup on Halloween. They went to the port and had their Halloween party on the boat with their friends. Mrs. Martin made pumpkin pies and Halloween cookies, and there were good CDs to dance to. Before midnight, Nick took some pictures with his new digital camera. The party was a lot of fun, and everyone loved it. No one got to bed before 3 a.m. Bill and Michelle slept until noon the next day. "How was the Halloween party?" asked Mr. Martin.
Oh, we had a great time, Dad.
Said Bill.
Thanks for letting us use the boat.
We even cleaned up.
Said Michelle proudly.
I'm glad you had fun.
Said Mrs. Martin. That afternoon, they went to Nick's house to see the pictures he took the night before.
Come upstairs and see the pictures of the party.
Said Nick excitedly as he opened the door.
Why are you excited?
Asked Michelle.
Is something wrong with them?
You both look super.
He said.
But that's not the problem. It's something else.
They sat down in front of Nick's computer and started looking at the pictures.
Look at this one.
Said Nick.
Can you see the big white spot? It's on the boat in the background.
They looked at the pictures of the party and saw a white spot on a boat in the background.
Let's look closer at the picture.
Said Michelle.
I want to see the name of the boat.
It's the North Star.
Cried Bill.
It was Mr. ONELL's boat.
But what's that white spot?
Asked Nick. They looked at the computer for a while, and then Michelle cried out,
I know! It's somebody's ghost in the picture. I read about it in a book, and last night was Halloween. Strange things can happen on Halloween night.
A ghost?
Whispered Bill and Nick.
What are you saying?
That white spot is the picture of a ghost.
Exclaimed Michelle.
And it's on Mr. ONELL's boat, the North Star.
Oh, come on, Michelle.
Said Bill, whose face was white.
Do you mean that it's Mr. ONELL's ghost?
Nick felt cold.
Can you see the ghost in other pictures?
Asked Michelle.
Well, look at these.
Said Nick. They looked at 3 other pictures and had the same white spot on the same boat.
Wait a minute.
Said Bill nervously.
Do we believe in ghosts?
The 3 friends looked at each other and didn't know what to say.
Do you have another explanation?
Said Michelle, who believed in ghosts.
Gee,
Said Bill.
then Mr. ONELL is dead and not missing.
There was a moment of silence, and then he told Nick about his conversation with Francisco Garcia.
What happened to him on that day in June?
Asked Nick.
Did he have an accident, or was it bad luck?
Francisco says it's bad luck to change the name of a boat.
Do you believe in superstition and bad luck?
Asked Bill.
I think good and evil forces exist.
Said Nick seriously.
Ghosts only appear when the person was murdered or died in a terrible way.
Said Michelle.
Perhaps he was looking for something important, and someone killed him to get the information.
Said Bill.
But where's his body?
Asked Nick.
We should tell the police about this.
Said Bill.
The police don't believe in ghosts.
Said Michelle.
Why don't we try to solve this mystery?
Why not?
Said Bill.
I like solving mysteries.
And I like investigating.
Said Nick.
But we need more information about Mr. ONELL. What was he looking for, and why was it important? Let's plan this carefully.